Some of the best Easter eggs are ones you would never find. In GTA 5, this happens all the time. When you're hanging out with the other characters, you'll create this unbreakable bond, but for those who get weird and call Michael like a second after hanging out, he'll say this.
Are you serious? We just hung out. You gotta get a life.
I have no idea how people found this one, but at Gears of War 3, you could go up to these pipes and press X. It doesn't tell you to do this, but once you've done it to all 4, a chicken appears. Nothing crazy until you get hungry and decide to shoot this little guy.
Are you kidding me? Mutate on that, you
If there's one developer that is seriously in tune with their community, it's Insomniac. So when Spider-Man PS4 was announced, a creator named Greg Miller was ecstatic. He had his own character named Shirtless Spider-Man who delivered fake press conferences, and usually they were full of him praising the game. He prayed for Insomniac to add him in as an Easter egg, and that's when players found this.
I have to find him before Lee does.
We're Spider Bros. Check out my moves.
A couple weeks ago, Modern Warfare 2 dropped a bundle called Notice Me 2.0. It was full of anime girls and colorful designs, but the devs added a secret that was impossible to find. Well, it wasn't until data miners looked at the bullet casing they realized it said, okay, well, you can read what it says. One of my favorite things to do in Red Dead is antagonize people. You always have the option to be nice or horrible, but you don't realize how much effort actually went into this feature. They specifically recorded dialogue for when you're super nice to someone only to backhand them at the last second. So if you greet them twice and then antagonize, Arthur's insults are hilarious.
Must be fun, being the town idiot. I like you, mister. You have a kind face. The kind I like to punch.
Now, anyone who's a fan of SpongeBob will remember one of its most iconic episodes, and there's an amazing reference to it in Battle for Bikini Bottom. When SpongeBob goes outside of town and heads to Rock Bottom, he's desperate to get home, but every time he looks away, the bus arrives only for it to drive off when he turns back. We'll go to Rock Bottom in game, and not only is it pretty empty, but the second you use the vending machine, later this year, XDEFIANT fully releases, but somehow people are already noticing insane Easter eggs. The premise of the game is that it's a combination of Ubisoft's worlds in one FPS, so of course there's gonna be a lot of secrets. All around the maps you'll find references to things like Bank from Rainbow Six Siege, a Just Dance machine, and even Far Cry Blood Dragon. But one of the most nostalgic Easter eggs Call of Duty has ever done is in Black Ops 3 Zombies. As expected, it has a ridiculous amount of steps, from completing every challenge in the game to using secret weapons on red spiders. But once you get the creatures to drink element 115 water and trap it in a cage, you'll unlock the ability to play as a spider. And you have to appreciate the level of detail that goes into LEGO games. They have so many characters and each one has a personality. You can tell the devs are massive Star Wars fans, because if you go idle as Anakin Skywalker, it reveals the future. Okay, look, Dying Light may be 8 years old, but the devs are still updating it, and recently they added an Easter egg that'll break your heart. Last year, fans noticed there was a new poster on the stuffed turtle building. When they looked closely, it showed a cat icon on the map, so naturally, they went straight there. Well, this is where they came across a ton of plants and candles, paying homage to the golden statue of a cat named Mocha. Well, as their reward for finding it, they got a secret weapon called Mocha's Right Paw. Please don't be a real cat, it's probably what you're saying, and sadly, yes, Mocha belonged to one of the devs who used this as a way of saying goodbye and immortalizing them forever. Someone else who absolutely deserves a statue is Chadwick Boseman. He was taken from us way too soon, and so Insomniac decided to pay tribute in Spider-Man Miles Morales. It's actually super hard to find, but one of the many streets in New York City has been renamed to Boseman Way. It's a really small sign, but players only found it because of what's on the street, the Wakandan Embassy. Something more lighthearted is also one of my favorite Easter eggs from back in the day. In CRYSIS 2, you could go off the path in one of the missions and find a switch with no interact button. Once you've hit it, go down another hallway, and you'll have to jump a barricade and call the elevator. This is when a classic secret reveals itself. Another game that really cares about their community is Call of Dragons, the sponsor of this video. Welcome to Tomorrow's, where you develop cities, train armies, and lead one of 3 different factions to victory. This is one of the ultimate 4X strategy games, and only gets better when you discover behemoths. There are 8 behemoths and 8 unique raid instances. You'll have to master each behemoth's attack patterns and fight back to emerge victorious. How you train your behemoth is up to you. Figure out a path that suits your alliance's needs, and then unleash it to conquer the realm. Call of Dragons features real 3D terrain that can be a deciding factor in battle. Pick the behemoth that best suits the battlefield, to pair it with an array of deadly hero skills. The possibilities are endless. You can also show other players who's the boss with PvP combat. Deal with the otherworldly invaders either alone in PvE or together with your fellow Alliance members. You can even battle for domination in inter-alliance warfare, so the multiple gameplay modes, it really keeps things exciting. Call of Dragons is cross-platform on both PC and mobile, so you can play it however or wherever you want. They even automatically translate other players' messages into your language, so we're truly talking globe-spanning alliances. Master dragons to rule this world. Download Call of Dragons using my link below, or scan this and use code CODMONSTER to get special rewards in-game. Magic Monsters Mastery. Arguably, one of the best Assassin's Creed games is Black Flag, and it's full of content, so when you're tasked with doing 100 Abstergo challenges, it's gonna take a while. Luckily, after putting in hours of effort, you're rewarded with an entirely different crew for your ship, who are all skeletons. Yeah, an incredible reference to Pirates of the Caribbean. Skeletons are unsettling, but Just Cause 4 knows exactly what you're doing even right now. In the mountains, players found a cauldron and a pickaxe, and they could jump inside to unlock the Getting Over It Easter egg. It's a one-on-one minigame exactly like the original, and they even brought Bennett Foddy in to record voice lines where it got a little too real though.
Now I know you're most likely watching this Easter egg online, where someone else has discovered and recorded it for you, like a baby bird being fed chewed up food. Don't worry, that's culture too.
Another character who broke the fourth wall is Delsin from the infamous Second Son. This is an insanely hard game to platinum. You gotta spend hundreds of hours to do it, and when you finally get that elusive trophy, the game pops up a congratulations message. Once you're at it, Delsin has a couple words to let you know that he's exhausted.
You know what, buddy? You and I have been through a lot, but I gotta tell you, officially, we're done.
But I gotta say, the last thing I'd expect to find in a Halo game is Rick and Morty. Well, in Halo Infinite, one of the missions has a dark corridor. If you leave the normal path and look through this grate, a Mr. Meeseeks box is trapped inside. Taking it back to SpongeBob, when the devs of this game decided to remake it, it was almost impossible to not add a meme or two. So now when you go idle as SpongeBob, there's a chance he'll do the mocking face. My favorite what happens to Patrick, because he'll be very surprised just like the show. Now there is a secret that no one really talks about, and it's probably because Dying Light just has so many of them. At one point in the game, people found a zipline that led to nowhere. So they turned back, but dedicated fans climbed the rocks. This led them to a Plants vs. Zombies minigame. You can sit back and watch, or get down there and kill them to help the plants out. Speaking of zombies, The Last of Us Part 1 is a fully fledged remake of the original, and Naughty Dog were as faithful as possible, not changing too much. Well, of course, it did have room for a subtle Easter egg. Most people will run through this building, or even past it, but if they just stood here and looked around for a second, they would have noticed it's a recreation of Dunder Mifflin from The Office. It's got Pam's desk, tons of paper boxes, and even Michael's office. It's just a shame you can't go in though. Naughty Dog clearly love references, and they don't shy away from their own games. Most people know about how you can play Crash Bandicoot in Uncharted, but there's another Easter egg that's way darker. In one level, you're driving a boat with Sam, and if you stop off at this island, there's a shipwreck to explore. Only problem is, hidden in the depths of the ship, you'll find a crewmate's corpse. They're missing a head and surrounded by coral, referencing clickers from The Last of Us. Not everything has to be subtle. Metal Gear Solid has a surprising cameo from everyone's favorite plumber. In the lab, you can zoom into the corner and find Mario and Yoshi. Best part is, the game rewards you for assassinating them. Now, Battlefield 2042 died within the first week, but at heart, it's still a Battlefield game, so there's plenty of Easter eggs to find. For one of the maps, you can head all the way to the roof of a skyscraper and go prone. This is where a pair of red shoes is revealed, a reference to one of DICE's other classic games, Mirror's Edge. Back in Spider-Man Miles Morales, everyone loves the Bodega Cat. You can interact with him every time you go in the store, and once you beat the game, he even gets his own suit that turns him into a companion. However, when you first meet the Bodega Cat, Miles says,
"He takes a pet like no problem. That's a great cat."
Sounds a little familiar, right?
It takes a pet like no problem.
Another great reference is in Jurassic World Evolution 2. You can design your own park, but it also means you gotta run it safely. There's always a chance a dinosaur will break out and eat one of your visitors, but if a Spinosaurus does it, you'll hear a faint cell phone ringing in its stomach. This is of course an homage to Jurassic Park 3, where a Spino eats a satellite phone. Okay, I love when things are accurate to the source material, just like in Fortnite. I mean, yeah, they add a ton of goofy crossover skins, but the Spider-Verse outfits are hiding a big secret. If you use the Acrobatics emote with any skin, it looks like this, but if you wear Spider-Gwen, it drops to 24 frames per second, just like the movie. And over in Hitman 3, there's a secret ending that no one really talks about. Your final target is on a train, and when you finally make it to him, there's the option to kill him or simply wipe his memory. Tough decision to make, but anyone who sat here pondering will be given a secret third option, which is to inject yourself. Makes no sense why you do this, obviously you're gonna pick it. Well, now the game ends with you waking up in the asylum from the first Hitman game, you know, just to mess with you. But an Easter egg that ended up trolling the player is an atomic heart. People flew through this game, so it was easy to overlook some simple machines. Well, that's until you get a second glance and realize these devs were having a little too much fun. Speaking of wasting your time, Snow is a simple sports game where you can ski down mountains and explore. But if you explore too much, you'll find this drawing leading you to a nearby cave. Once you track down the location and use your drone to get inside, it's full of secret cave markings. But the greatest one is right here, lit up in the darkness, a QR code. This has been one of the biggest mysteries in the games community, and now they have finally found it. And a classic game is Duck Hunt on the NES, but for years there was a rumor that you could shoot the dog and it would actually work. People kept trying this and nothing happened. He didn't react at all to your bullets. Well, that's until they loaded up the beta version of Duck Hunt decades after release. Now that hackers could view these early builds, they tried to shoot the dog and it actually worked. Those are Easter eggs you missed in video games. Hope you all enjoyed. It's been Tommy, and keep it here on T5G.